Tim, should we tell the listeners how to join the Golfweek Amateur Tour?
Yes, of course. We should probably do it now before we forget, though.
I agree. It's simple. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership.
Thanks, Chris. Membership for 2024 is open, so register today to join the oldest, largest, and best amateur tour in the country.
And remember, this podcast can be found on all the major platforms. So make sure you like, download, and share it with all your friends and family.
Chris, that's a great idea. Now, on to the show. Hey, Chris, welcome to episode 2. How things going?
Going great. Since the first episode, I've had great response from my tours. Everybody loved it. I've gotten great response from, friends that have listened to it, from me sharing it with my golf friends. So it's been great. I'm excited we got this journey started and working out perfect.
Yeah, text messages and emails have been blowing up my phone more than usual. So looking forward to growing it. And I think we have a good episode this week with lots of great guests. So let's go ahead and get started.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast. We are your hosts, Tim Newman and Chris Rocha. As the oldest and largest amateur golf tour in the country, we put on individual stroke play golf tournaments that are handicapped by flights in 48 cities across the country. The Golfweek Amateur Tour, where amateurs play like pros. Again, welcome back to the Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast. This is episode 2, and we've got a great lineup this week. We've got a national champion. We're going to talk to a father-son combo who duke it out every week with the son actually winning the points championship. We've got updates on national championship, and then some updates on some points winners from a couple different tours. So, Chris, I know you had a tournament this weekend, your last tournament this past weekend. How'd it go?
It went great. It was our tour finale. We had actually a couple guys from Arizona come down to play. Gabe Garcia came down and played. Kind of nice because we beat them last year in the Ryder Cup at that course. So kind of bragging rights at the same time. But it was fun. It was fun till the end. We almost had a playoff in every flight, which would have been pretty cool for a tour finale. And we had some tight point races that finished out that weekend.
Well, we'll get to the point races at the end of the show. And the guys battle all year long for these point races. And some of the questions that we get, I know you get them too, how they can move up and how they can get these points. And, it's the last tournament of the year where, we recognize those points winners. So we'll get to that at the end. But our DC tour, they had tournament this past weekend and finished up and great. It's a great venue that they play at. We finish up there every year, and we got some good points winners and some people that actually got moved from up a flight as they head into the national championship, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Right. I know how that goes. I just got moved up and had to play the tour finale in the B flight, which is a little nerve-wracking to start. But once you realize, these golfers are the same golfers I've been trying to compete with for who knows how long on the side, it makes it pretty easy after that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's still golf, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. You're playing from the same tee as everybody else, and
right.
your strengths are different from other people's strengths, and your weaknesses are different from other people's weaknesses. You just got to figure out a way to get the ball in the hole.
Right.
So, Chris, we're moving into the national championship. It's almost a month away, and a lot of guys are really excited about it. But we also have some guys that are on the fence. How's the feelings down in your tours?
About the same. We have some guys that do want to return. With us being a day travel, it does take a little bit more convincing. But we're getting there. We're getting guys excited to go. I think our first episode kind of weaned guys off the fence and are pushing them towards registering and making plans, things like that. So I think this podcast is what is helping what we planned for it to do. But yeah, it's hard when um, the guys have never experienced what we know national championship could be, and being able to kind of give the voice to that is what's helping make those decisions.
Right now, I tell our guys both in DC and Atlanta that National Championship Week to me is one of the best weeks of the year. As even though it's for us that are working, it's long days, but to me it's a lot of fun seeing all the guys and the ladies having fun, being able to hang out a little bit um, and just kind of enjoy the atmosphere and enjoy the idea that golf is pulling us all together. Now I've got my final Atlanta tournament coming up this weekend, and really going to push them to for signups, and everybody who's still playing, who's going into that last week. Please make sure you're signing up for your local events. Please make sure you guys are registering, because I know the numbers are getting full. But what I really want to do is talk about the experience of national championship, and what better way to do it than to talk with actual national champions. So our first national champion that we want to bring in is Dougy Phillips from the Philadelphia Tour. He was the Sea Flight national champion from last year. Dougy, welcome to the show.
All right, it's a pleasure to be here. Listen to the first episode, and appreciative of what you guys are doing to continue building what's already a great thing here with the Golfweek Amateur Tour.
Well, that's one of the things that we're trying to do with the podcast is to kind of spread the word and spread what the tour can actually bring to people. Besides the just the golf. In the previous episode we talked about the common connections that golf has, and some of the friendships and the camaraderies that go along with that. We had Dan Cash on the first episode, and if you don't know who Dan Cash is, that means you're not playing enough events, because he travels all over the country and plays in all the different cities. And number one, you're just like Dan, and every time I've ever seen you, you've had a smile on your face through everything. And Dan Cash is that same way. And it again, to me, that just kind of shows our love of golf, and being around people and growing that base.
Absolutely, and one of my only regrets I think I can think of within the golf game is the fact that it took me so long to get into it. I used to play slow pitch softball for like the last 20 years, traveling around and playing with friends, and was a great experience. And then just, being away from my family as much as I was, at the end, I'd be leaving on Thursdays, not coming home till Sundays or Mondays, got too much of a toll. So, I decided to give that up to be able to spend more time with my family, and decided to pick up golf. It was actually Labor Day of 2020 was the first time I picked up golf clubs, and just, was like, all right, let me see what this is about, and see if there's a way that I can fill that competitive void that the slow pitch softball was leaving me.
Yeah, dude, I can completely agree with that, and that's crazy that you say, you picked up golf 2020. That means that you'd be playing for 3 years now, and you're already a national champion. That's mind blowing to me. But first off, congratulations on your championship last year. I actually played in the Sea Flight National Championship and tried to catch you the whole time and just fell a little bit short.
Gotcha. It definitely is it's definitely an experience that will be with me for the rest of my life. Without a doubt, it's my greatest, sports accomplishment, that I.
Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, Srixon.
A great iron set needs more than good looks. It's gotta be fast and gotta be pure. But good looks never hurt either. The all-new ZX Mark II irons from Srixon.
Was able to accomplish and have played a wide range of sports growing up, but just, the biggest thing that I'll remember, not even necessarily the golf of that weekend, but it was, showing up to, what was it, Palmetto Dunes is where we go to? Am I right there?
Mhm.
That's where everybody
Yep.
meets for
Correct.
lunch and stuff. But, my favorite memory that I'll remember is just showing up to the dunes after winning. I have my family with me. I have my wife, my daughter, who's 12 now. She was 11, last year when that happened. And I just remember grabbing my daughter's arm, her hand, and just let her walk with me. And all I did was just watch her. Just watched her as we walked in. They announced me as I came in, because I know I was probably one of the last ones to get there because we had a long playoff. And with me, I had to actually wait for my wife to come get me and pick me up because she had my vehicle, so we got there a little late. But just watching her face, just watching, people come up, congratulate you, go over, get your picture, with all the other national champions. I just watched her.
Yeah.
I literally just watched my daughter Issa, watched how she took that experience in, and it's actually led her to the game of golf. This summer she's like, Dad, I want to learn to, I really want to commit to the game of golf. So, you know, I probably spent 3-4 days a week this summer on the golf course with her, of just
Yeah.
building, continuing to build the family bonds that you have, that golf gave us that opportunity to do that. And, you know, it's not, I'm not so sure if that would have happened if she didn't get to experience all those things, and the life lessons that sports come with it too. I remember telling
Right.
her, like, look, babe, I'm proof. Like, I am proof that if you set your mind to something, we can accomplish anything we want. You know, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that there was a lot of sacrifices that happened, for that prep period that I did, to get myself ready, prepared, you know, mentally and physically, with that game. And, seeing her work ethic develop is something that I'll never forget. And hopefully it's something that will live with her for the rest of her life as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can completely agree with you because when I have my kids when we go to out of town trips, being with them and seeing their faces when they announce my name and things like that, it touches the heartstrings a little bit. So I can
Absolutely.
completely agree.
And, and, and,
So speaking of, oh, go ahead.
and to have my wife told me, like, that night after we won, she's like, I didn't think you had a shot in hell at winning this. She's like, I thought we were just coming down here for a trip to Hilton Head. You know, by the weekend, you were going to be played out, and we were just going to be like a family vacation. And I'm like, well, it
Thank,
worked out a little better, didn't it, babe?
yeah. Thanks for your support.
I think
They
that's how
were
most of the
awesome.
wives are.
They definitely were awesome, but we kind of made a rule, like, once the tournament started, that, like, hey, if I'm in contention, it was like 9:30 was lights out. We kind of like had a curfew for ourselves, so that I
Right.
can make sure that I got enough rest and be prepared, because 8:30 shotgun starts. You got to be up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, to get yourself ready to get there in time. And I told him, like, hey, if I get knocked out and I'm out of contention, then this just turns into a family vacation, no curfews, and I'm just showing up and playing the other days, just trying to catch a skin here or there with
Right.
it.
So you brought up how your daughter picked up golf by watching you. How did you learn about the tour, and why did you decide to join the tour last year?
I actually found it through a Facebook ad. I was just scrolling social media. Tim Horan is our director. If I'm not mistaken, it was his first year of taking over the Philly tour last year, and he had just started, doing a Facebook ad of putting his schedule out, and you know, I was like, I wanted to get into competitive golf, so I was like, all right, let me check this out. Did a little bit of research. It seemed like it was, you you know, uh, a pretty legitimate tour with it, as it truly is the largest tour that's out there at this point. And I just went to my first event. I don't even think I broke 100 in my first event. I think I shot like 103, 104 or something like that and I had a tough start. Competitive golf is much different than recreational golf. It's easy when you're out there playing recreational golf. If you hit a bad shot, they drop another one down and hit it and just act like it didn't happen. And then there's a lot of people out there like, man, I shot 83 today. And then like, hey, did you really shoot 83, competitively, or was that 83 with some mulligans here and there? Because, the way we used to play the game when we got into it is we took one mulligan on each side, when we were playing recreational with our buddies and stuff like that. But, after I played my first event, I'm like, I can't do that anymore. Like that's not helping me. So it forced me to change how I played the game so that I can, try to reach my potential, with competitive golf. And it's just kind of snowballed. This is really just kind of snowballed from there. Now I just kind of look for any opportunity I can get to the golf course. I'm going to do it.
Right.
So you talk about being in contention, and you shot 86 first round, 86 second round, and 86 in the final round, and put you
Yep.
in a tie for first place. Talk about your emotions as you're going into the playoff, and walk us through those two holes.
I think we had to do it three. I think we played it three times.
Three. Okay.
3 times, I think it was, and I was pissed that we even went to a playoff because I I just needed to par 18 and would have won by one stroke. And I had probably ended up hitting one of my best drives of the day. I was ended up being like I think I was like 100 out. Hit it on the green. I think I was like I had a two putt from like 25 feet to become a national champion. And I learned a lot about myself there too, because I hit that putt exactly how I thought I wanted to hit it. I hit it 20 feet past the hole. Just because of just you learning about yourself, I learned like my adrenaline was going so much at that point that I learned to, I ended up, and I guess I ended up three putting it, as a result of that and going into the playoff. So I was a little frustrated with myself going into it. Um, and then, we just, the playoff holes, I was actually good. That's one of the things that I'm really good about, is the mental side of the game. Like, I don't get too high, I don't get too low. I'll forget about whatever happened. If I do make a bad shot, my mindset is it's an opportunity to hit a great shot. And, if you look at my scorecard on day three, we were in the final group, we're in that final group starting on one. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I started the day triple double double.
Wow.
So I was 7 over, I believe, after 3 holes on day three, and I'm like, the conditions were tough. There were tough conditions that day. It was the hardest conditions. Friday and Saturday the weather was perfect, absolutely perfect, and then Sunday, like a cold front and was windy. So I knew scores were going to be a little bit higher anyway going into it. But I was like, all right, you kind of ruined. I think that was my only triple of the whole weekend too. Was that first hole? But I said, just weather the storm, calm down, you know, and so what, seven, so I was 7 over after three, and then what, 86, I ended up going 7 over the last 15, of it to get me there. So, the mental side is huge. You can, and I've been on the opposite side of that stuff too in other events where I've spiraled out of control and I couldn't stop it. But I try to learn from the past. I try to learn from those experiences, figure out what I did wrong and work to correct them, moving down the road. And I think that's, a good bit of what's allowed me to improve as rapidly as I have with only, playing the game for 3 years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, your mental game has has helped. HB came last week said, or last episode said that his mental game has improved. Um, so now that we're heading into this new national championship, how has your approach changed, or if it's changed at all, heading into this new tournament?
It's not going to change. It's not going to change a whole lot for me. You know, I'm someone. You know, I actually got focused practice sessions 3 days a week. You know, where I'm either going to get to the course at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning before work, or I'm going to get there at like 5:30, 6 o'clock after work. And you know, 3 days a week, I got focused practice. You know, just working on different areas so that way I have, you know, a lot of confidence, you know, coming into the national again this year like I did last year. So I'm not really going to change anything in my approach from last year since it worked so well. The only difference is this year it's kind of weird, might be a little bit weird to say, but I gotta, I don't have as much motivation, I guess, as I did last year. And that's only because my mom passed away last year from pancreatic cancer at the end of August. So, you know, last year I kind of went down there to play for her. Like I talked to her every day when I was there. So when I was
I
having
got you.
tough times, that's how I, you know, compressed my mental stuff as I would talk to her. Like, hey, you know, calm me down, you know, or you know, and things of that nature. And you know, so that was a good bit of last year too, of what helped push me through and get me through, you know, that tough start on Sunday that I had.
Well, our condolences, but completely understand that.
Thanks. Thanks.
So let's change gears a little bit. So you just finished your second year on tour. You've played in the C flight. You got moved to the B flight, and you won your points championship again this year. So, what have been your favorite courses that you've actually played?
My favorite courses that I've played, I mean, on the amateur tour, without a doubt, you know, Oyster Reef's going to be number one to me because that's where I won. You know, so that's going to be, even though it may not be it's a nice course, a great course, you know, but the nicest course without a doubt is the ocean course. You know, I went down to the regional at Myrtle, or I'm sorry, for Kiowa this
Kiowa,
year.
right?
So getting an opportunity to play that ocean course was a bucket list item for me, and being able to cross off that bucket list, even though, you know, when we made the turn, is I don't know if any of you guys at Kiowa this year.
No.
There was a storm coming in Sunday, and we didn't even get to finish. And holy moly, a humbling experience. We made the turn, and it was like 30, 40 mile an hour into our face on that ocean course. I lost 5 balls in a row. I literally lost 5 balls in a row on the back nine, and just I was in contention. I was in contention for the regional, and I shot myself out by, I think I went triple, 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 three or four triples in a row because I couldn't I just couldn't keep the ball in play. Any type of little draw or any type of little fade was just
Right.
magnified by that. And I've never played it. I never played in conditions like that. So it was it was an awesome experience, but a great learning experience for me as well of how I got to approach that differently in the future if I'm faced with similar conditions.
Oh,
Well, you
I
could be.
know exactly about that. We get that every year here in El Paso, so we're used to that here. That,
It was wild.
At any point in Hilton Head, you just never know. Most of the time, the weather is great, but sometimes it's not. And I would encourage you also to maybe go to Whistling Straits next year, or
That is the goal. The goal,
okay,
Whistling Straits is the bucket list plan for next year. Actually started talking with a couple of the Philly guys, you know, trying to see if we can get, you know, 4 or 5 of us to head to there next year. And then I think the year after that, I'm thinking Phoenix. You know, go to the stadium course and stuff is the plan for, was that 2024?
well, that sounds like
yeah,
a pretty
that's a
good
fun
plan.
tournament.
Yep.
I went to Whistling Straits this year, and that was a blast. It was a good experience. So I think your next two bucket list courses are spot on.
Nice. And I got the chance to talk with a couple of the guys because I actually live in Maryland, you know, but I'm right on the corner. I'm right next to Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, right in that corner. So I actually, the DC tour, I know some of the guys that are on the DC.
Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, Srixon.
ZX Mark II drivers are for major players, major winners, major power. All new ZX Mark II drivers, only from Srixon.
Tour, for me, the Philly tour is a little bit, most of the tournaments are closer. So that's why I play the Philly tour instead of the DC tour. But I know there was a good bit of the DC guys that went to Whistling Straits this year as well.
Yeah, Whistling Straits it's an experience, not unlike going to Kiowa. Get a bunch of guys to go and have a good time, and you will be challenged. Really, no matter what the weather is, it's the two courses we play out there are very, very challenging.
Absolutely. Well, the biggest thing was convincing my wife, because I turn these into family vacations. My wife was like,
Right.
"You mean to tell me we're going to Wisconsin for vacation?" Because she's a beach person. To us, vacations are the beach. That's typically what we do. And I'm like, they got a beach there. There's a lake. There's a beach we can go to.
Be my guest. The weather could be 80 and sunny. It could be 40 and windy and rainy. I mean,
Yeah.
you just never know. That's the thing about up there. You just the weather. You never know what the weather's going to be, and it'll change very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So, the one thing is I want to tell you as we wrap it up, you say you live in Maryland and I run the DC tour, so we're in a lot of the same Facebook groups. So I see what you're posting a lot, and I can't thank you enough for all the positive things you say about the tour. If somebody's asking where you play competitive golf, you're always talking up the tour. I really appreciate that, and
absolutely. The tour, we only get better with, even though the numbers are phenomenal, as it is right now, it can only get better with adding more people, at the end of the day, and just continuing to, make it as competitive as possible.
Totally agree.
Well, again, thanks so much for jumping on, and we'll see you in Hilton Head in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. I look forward to it, and look forward to hearing many more of these podcasts as you guys continue to build this as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Chris, it was great talking to Dougy, and really looking forward to seeing how he does in the B flight this year's national championship. He's a really good guy. Again, he plays on the Philly tour, but we have some interaction with DC, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to meet him. Get to play against him again for another year, but hopefully get the best of him. But he does seem like a very nice guy. Can't wait to finally put a face to the voice.
Yeah. Now, as we move on to the next segment, last week we talked about how each tour has its own little culture. We all kind of play for the same things and same reasons, but have its own little culture, and that's what these next guests. I was a tour director for Upstate for 4 years, and you talk about building relationships, and I don't want to start naming off too many names, but the likes of Steve Clippard, Adam Shealy, Al Hijack, Dan Cash, Al Hijack, Benji Raines, Mitch and Lewis from the BMW guys. You build good friends, and again, I don't want to name too many names because then people say you forgot me. Now, I didn't forget you. You're always a part of it. But our next guest is a father-son combo, Chris and Alex Franklin. This is a great story. Alex in the B flight, and Chris is back in the B flight now, and Alex actually won the points competition this year over his dad, which is I think is great, and I'm going to be giving Chris a hard time about that for forever. So let's welcome in Chris and Alex Franklin. Chris and Alex, welcome.
Thank you, Tim.
Alex, when I first met you, you were playing travel baseball, and your dad would tell me how you were doing and ask for special tee time so you could play golf and still make your games. And I remember the time he asked me if you could actually play at Verde Greens, and I said, of course. We always need, from my perspective, we always need kids playing. We need kids playing. We need more women playing. That's the only way the game is going to grow. But anyway, I said, of course. And then you didn't play for a few weeks, and then you came to the Brookstone event, and I don't call that the Brookstone event. I call that the time that your dad gave me cash to pay for an event and took a picture of it. So there was an actual record that he actually paid, so he didn't have to pay twice. That was Brookstone event, and then he didn't play for until 2021. Almost 3 years. So I'm happy to see you're playing. But what was the change from playing baseball to really getting into playing golf and playing competitive golf?
The change was really COVID because we couldn't really play baseball, but you could play golf. And then I kind of just started getting better and better and started playing golf instead of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I would completely agree. I think that's what a lot of golfers would say right now is COVID was a big change for them and helped them get better. But what has it been like for you competing on tour with the old men, no offense to anybody, and consistently beating them as well?
I mean, it's different. I mean, it didn't really feel like much when I was beating people like in the D flight, but now in the B flight, I mean, I guess it feels a little better.
A little chip on your shoulder right there?
Kind of want to be up there in the champ and A and beating those guys. But
yeah, I have no doubt that you'll make it up there. Chris, question for you. You've played in a lot of rounds on tour, 45 to be exact, in the last 2 years. What have the last 2 years been like for you being able to play with and against your son?
It's been a lot of fun. And the reason I've been able to play so many events in the last 2 years is because of my son, right? Once he gave up baseball and decided he wanted to play golf, we arranged it for him. He started in D flight. I think he was 13 years old, but we were able to play the same events then at that point. So that allowed me to play more tournaments like in 21 and 22 now. And we get to travel a lot together. So if you look back at our history over the last 2 years, we're always trying to play somewhere different, right? We try to play in all the Upstate events, some Atlanta events. There's a couple Columbia events we always try to play in. But also we got to do a couple different things. Like last year we went up to just saw something open, had an open weekend, went up to Eastern North Carolina, play at Reynolds, Reynolds, I believe it's called. And we had the most fun those 2 days playing up there. It's completely two different courses, something we would have never thought to go up there if it wasn't on their schedule or never even known about those two courses. So we had a lot of fun with that. Plus we get to do, the regionals, the Icebreaker. We both did Icebreaker this year. He wasn't even playing golf when we did Icebreaker in 21. He hadn't told me he wanted to commit to golf at that point in time. But we've been able both the last 2 years to go down to Kiowa and play in the Southern Regional. So that was a lot of fun watching him finish there at the Ocean Course for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I have a little heartstrings tug because I started playing golf with my dad not till about 23, 24, but I got two little boys that want to start playing golf now, and I have a couple of father-sons in my tour that come up. Even, in fact, a 13-year-old that comes out and he's won D flight, he's won C flight, so he's improved a lot. So congrats, kudos to both of you for coming out together. I know it's a good bonding moment, so I can completely agree with you on that.
Well, I know I'm committing heresy here, but I tell everybody that the U.S. Open is the best golf tournament in the world, above the Masters. The Masters is great, don't get me wrong, but the U.S. Open, it's played on Father's Day weekend every year. Most of us who are playing golf have been introduced to the game through their fathers, and anybody in the United States can play in that event if you're good enough and qualify. So Chris and Alex are actually having their U.S. Opens every week. They get to play together and compete against each other every week. And at the end of the day, Chris, we talked about it last week. All we want is more time. We always want that one more round with our dad. And you guys are getting that every week, and I think that's great.
Yeah, we get to play a lot together, but there's a lot of tournaments now. He's playing a lot of junior golf, so between now and Hilton Head, the next 3 weeks, I'm not playing any weekend golf. I'm chauffeuring him from event to event and watching him play for 3 straight weekends.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. So he's gonna get you nice and rusty while he's getting warmed up for national championship. So
yes.
So Chris, I wish we could have more kids and more females out. And I know that you love that Alex is playing, but for the folks that are listening, I don't want this lost on everybody. Chris, you're a very good golfer in your own right. You've been an A flight player the majority of your time on tour. You're in the B flight right now, but you've been on tour for 13 years, so since 2010. And I can't remember the number of rounds you've played, but you've played a ton in 13 years. What keeps you coming back? What keeps you playing on the tour?
Well, first, what brought me to the tour was just a ability to play different courses, right? Courses that I normally wouldn't went and played. But also, when I first started, all my friends were having children and stopped playing golf. So I started looking for other ways to get into golf, and then I found competitive golf with Golfweek Amateur Tour. So then I got into the competition side of it. So the competition is what got me there, but it's the friends I've made along the way that keeps me coming back. Like yourself, you mentioned Mitch Green earlier. He and I are going to nationals together. Greg Minton, Chris Berry, many other people. Adam Sheely. We still get together and play golf, even outside of Golf Week from time to time. Many of those. Al Jacobs, you mentioned that earlier. So it's the people that keeps me coming back, right? It's not just the golf; it's the people.
I know some of my DC guys and Atlanta guys and the other tours I've been tour director on are going to hear this, but I tell everybody the friendships that I made from the Upstate guys are probably some of the best I've ever had. I love being with you guys. Probably some of the funnest times I've had is being a tour director is up there with you all, and I miss that. I miss those friendships and that camaraderie every other week like we had while I was up there. But I'm glad that we get to see you. I look forward to the national events and the regional events that we always get together at, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks. But Alex, now that the regular season's over, your dad's kind of mentioned it. Tell us about your schedule leading into the national championship. Where are you playing? What junior tournaments you're playing, and what do you think your outlook is?
Well, this weekend I'm playing Darlington Country Club Saturday and Sunday, and then next weekend I'll be playing the Rick Vaff 4-ball, I think, and then the weekend after that I'll play the Jackie Seawall Jr. at Cobb's Glen. So I got a lot going on for the next 4 weeks, and then nationals.
Are you
after
playing
that.
on your school team?
That's in the spring.
That's how much I know. Because so in Pennsylvania they play in both the fall and the spring. That you should probably get them to at least let you hit the ball around in the fall a little bit more too. But anyway, that's good. You've got a good schedule leading up to it. You're going to stay in that competition mode. Your dad's old; he's going to get stiff. You may get paired together the first day, but then after that, you'll be in the top groups, and we'll see your dad is after that. But anyway, guys, any last words of wisdom for dads who have sons or daughters that want to play? Get them involved.
Alex, you want to go ahead? You want me to do it?
Bring them out. I mean, it's a lot of fun playing against older guys.
Yes, bring your sons, your daughters out. We have not run into any issues with Alex being, 13, 14, 15 years old. Everybody out there is so supportive of him. So it's, excuse me, it's great to see all the support he gets from everyone else, even those he's playing against and beating on a weekly basis. it's great to see the support he gets.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize a couple years ago we had a 12-year-old win the national championship in the A flight. A few years before that, out of the DC tour, we had a 12-year-old who tied for first in the A flight, but left the course, so didn't get to do the playoffs. So he finished second in the national championship. So we have a history of kids playing. We just need more, and would love to have females out, young, old, whatever. So please don't feel intimidated. We have a place for everybody, and everybody is welcome. So Chris and Alex, thanks again so much for jumping on this. I really do appreciate it. Alex, I wish you the best of luck in the next few weeks, and look forward to seeing you all when you get to Hilton Head.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Chris and Alex fare in the national championship in a few weeks. But let's go ahead and bring in Jen Newman, and she can give us an update on what's going on for national championship.
Welcome, Jen.
Hi, thanks for having me on again. It's great to be here.
So why don't you tell us what's going on? Where our numbers at? You know, I know we've gotten some texts about when people can register since they moved into the top 10 and so forth. What can you tell us?
So that's a great question. We're really excited. Like we said before, the registration, as soon as we opened, we got a flood of people coming in. We've got about roughly half the field has already paid and joined in a variety of the flights. We have a few of the tours throughout the country that have wrapped up their season, and we've got a few people who have, based on their recent play, played their way into the qualification field, and we are in the process of getting ready to send out more invitations to those people who have newly qualified. Just want to remind everyone, give us a little bit of time. With 48 tours across the country, it takes a little time to go through and check and double check and make sure that we are getting those invitations out to the right people. Basically, what we're going to do is we're in that process now of reviewing the points from this weekend. We'll be sending out more qualification letters this week. And then next week, we will actually open up to people who, depending upon how much space we have in different flights, give people the opportunity to go ahead and get on board and play as well. So we're just trying to get those people who qualified, give them that opportunity to get in before we open it up.
So there's still room for those tours that are wrapping up this weekend for people to move into the top 10. There's still room for those people to qualify and get registered.
Yes, and in fact, what we've done is we purposefully were trying to make sure that we would have that ability. We want to make sure that the season's still going on. Local tours are in the midst of fighting it out, trying to get those last points in. We've had a number of people who are taking advantage of the fact that there are places that are still playing so that they can make up the last tournaments that they can. They can, we've got people who maybe they can't make their last tournament, but they're traveling and they're going to play on somebody else's tour to get that last event in. So yes, we've got the spaces available after the weekend tournaments wrap up and we get all the scores posted. We'll go back again, give the people who qualified that chance to get in. And then after we do that, that's when we will open it up if there's space available to other people. But like I said, the goal has been to really make sure we get the people who have worked hard to qualify, get them in before we do anything else.
Yeah, I just had my tour final, and I know guys after the tournament second day, did I qualify? So I know the excitement is there, especially with us opening up qualifications to more depending on how big your flight is. So I mean, I don't take this the wrong way, but I'm glad I'm not you all having to go through all these registrations.
Well, and you know, Chris, you just said something that I want to make sure doesn't get lost with those who are listening. You know, we've had people who got in a little later in the season and they've been playing and they actually qualified based on the point standings, but they needed to still get in a couple more rounds to get that 5 tournaments in, or people who had moved down late in the season. And remember, once you move down, you have to get 3 rounds in that lower bracket in order to participate. So even if your tour has completed, you can participate in an event. Now, you're not going to get points in the point standings, but you can still play in order to get that 3rd round in or to get that 5th round in to qualify. So you know, again, it's something that people might not realize. So you can still play in the tournaments. You just won't get points in the point standings, but you are able to complete that round. So that way your index is fully validated for the national championship.
Well, thanks, Jen. That's great information. And again, hopefully that those people that still have room to qualify can get registered and play this weekend and get the last chance for points and get the national championship filled up.
Yeah, and yes, great. And sorry, I cut you off there. I got extra excited there. I want to remind everyone who is playing in the national championship that we have that skins game. That's the separate game that takes place beforehand that you can register for. And we will be opening up the 2-man, 2-person challenge, which would be another side game type of thing that can go on. That's not open yet, but we will be getting to that as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, and hopefully we can get you on one more time before we start the national championship week.
Sounds good. Have a great night, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Chris, that was great information from Jen. I'm glad she was able to share some of that, and we can get that information to our players so that hopefully it alleviates some questions and some stress.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she had great answers. I think our guests were perfect this episode too. It's been a great show.
Yeah, before we wrap it up, let's why don't you tell me about who your points winners are? I mean, again, just so that they're recognized and understand. Like we said earlier, they compete all year, you know, for these points championships. So who'd you have?
Yeah, definitely. So, Champ Flight, of course, HB Kim, record-breaking 5,425 points. Just, I've never seen points that high, and I actually went back until the tour started. A flight, we have Billy Hinojos, who took the points race by less than 300 points. B flight, we had our Dr. Pavia, just ran away with it. Nobody really had a chance on that one. C flight, I'm a little biased about this one because it should have been me, but played too good. I had to get moved up. But Stephanie Seasilk, who is our only female player on tour right now, went ahead and beat all the boys in C flight. So congrats to her. And then in D flight, we had John, I always struggle with this last name, Petrolage, who ran away with it. I think he doubled the points from the next guy up. So he just took charge of that flight.
That's awesome, and I'm glad you had a female winner in the C flight. You know, it's always good to be able to highlight, you know, females when they play that they actually win, so that, you know, it gets a little bit more notoriety, and especially from a year-long competition, that really says a lot about her and her willingness to come out and continue playing and competing. That's great.
Oh yeah, she comes out every week. She's ready to beat the boys, not scared to get paired up with whoever. And I mean, she's improved a lot. Last year was her first year, and she was, I think, top 5. And come out to win this year is awesome.
Well, our DC tour had their final event this week too, and I want to recognize our points winners, and we didn't have any flight that was really close. The points winners really kind of blew, you know, second place away. So our champ flight winner was Lance Kaiser. He has an index of -2, and he played 12 rounds. He played 12 rounds this year.
Wow.
Our A flight winner was Ben Devine, and he played in 18 rounds this year. B flight was Freddie Carrion, and he played in 19 rounds. And the C flight winner, Cephas Franklin, he's my assistant tour director, and he pretty much runs everything when we're not there and does a phenomenal job. So he won the C flight. He played in 26 rounds this year, so he did a lot of traveling and playing golf. Congratulations to Cephas for winning the points championships, and congratulations for being moved to the B flight for the national championship. He's going he's going to do just fine. But again, he played in 26 rounds, and as a tour director to win a points championship, it's hard to do, because you know how hard it is to run an event and concentrate on playing golf, and he did a phenomenal job for us this year. So congratulations. And our D flight champion is Nick Taylor, and he played in 22 rounds this year. And again, I mean, if you look at these rounds, I mean, they're not playing just a few. They're playing every week, and they're traveling, and to me that's really good to see, and it should be congratulated and highlighted, because these are the guys that are that love the tour, that support the tour, not only the local tour but other local tours, and it's good to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, congrats to Cephas. I've known him. I think we played together twice. My first nationals as director, and we were actually part of the 2-man challenge together. Just randomly, I think at our directors meeting, he asked if I wanted to play with him. I said sure, and I think we made the money. So I've known Cephas for a while. Got to play with him at Whistling Straits the first day. So congratulations to him. And like you said, being a director, we don't get to warm up. We don't get to do much. We just go to the first tee, swing the club, and hopefully we hit the ball.
Exactly.
So yeah, congrats to him. I know how hard that can be. But 26 rounds, man, that's a lot.
And so this is the last weekend of the regular season. If you've got a chance for points, or if you got a tournament, please get out and register and support your local tour. And if you're qualified, register for national championship and get ready to go. Atlanta's got a tournament this weekend, 2-day tournament, and then we're done and looking forward to national championship.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. We'll actually be face to face in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So that'll be fun, and I hope everybody enjoyed this show.
Yeah. So next episode will come out October the 5th. And Chris, enjoy your time off, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good one.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Chris, we didn't do it again.
What didn't we do?
We didn't say how to join the tour.
That's right. It's simple. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership.
Thanks, Chris. Membership for 2024 is open, so register today to join the oldest, largest, and best amateur tour in the country.